So take me through that process of freezing your eggs. You said there was injections and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we usually try to time it based on where you are in your cycle, though sometimes some clinics will start with birth control pills. The role of the birth control pills is to basically synchronize the cohort of eggs that your ovaries brings to the surface every month. So when we're doing an egg freezing cycle, we're only able to access the follicles or the eggs that are on the surface that month. We're not able to tap into like the other eggs that are stored within the ovary. It's only those ones on the surface. So if you weren't going through this egg freezing cycle, those would have actually just like disintegrated and not been used.
Interesting.
So one of the common things that people ask is like, is egg freezing going to like speed up menopause, or is it going to harm my fertility later? Like, no, these are eggs that otherwise would have just gone away. So you come into the beginning of the cycle, we see how many eggs or follicles that your ovaries have brought to the surface that month. And then we decide whether you go on birth control pills or whether you start with the injections then. And we give you injections that are similar to the hormones that your body's already releasing. That's called follicle stimulating hormone. And that causes these follicles to grow over the course of 10 to 14 days. And as you're coming in every several days, we check to make sure that the follicles are growing as we would expect. And we see whether we need to tweak your dose. We see if we need to add any extra medications. And then towards the end of it, you might feel a little bit of like pelvic fullness. You might feel a little bit of bloating. Some people feel some mood swings, but for the most part, people tolerate it pretty well. And then it ends in that egg retrieval process like we had discussed.
Do you, when you're taking this medication, like I know when I was on birth control in my 20s, I was hormonal and crazy and I hated sex and all of that kind of stuff. Does it kind of do the same thing to you? Are you going to gain weight, do all these things?
So long term, most people don't gain weight from it. And over the course of 2 weeks, most people don't gain significant weight. But in terms of the mood symptoms, everybody is different. I always tell people, like, give yourself some grace. A lot of people end up feeling totally normal going into the process, but then it can sometimes bring up some emotions as you're going through it too. A lot of people don't necessarily plan on going through egg freezing or IVF throughout the course of their life. And then they end up, winding up in our office, and it's a huge emotional process for them. So I always just say, it's okay if you feel these things. We tend to recommend things like a therapist, acupuncture, things like that, continuing with moderate intensity exercise just to keep those stress levels down.
Interesting.